guys, Jen here with Astrology and Earth Magics. Thanks for checking in. I hope you guys are all surviving this winter. We here on the Northeast just got finished digging out from yet another storm. This one was a blizzard. I think the last one was a bomb genesis or whatever. You know, that cold, dry Saturn with the precipitation making Neptune in that conjunction at that 0 degree of Aries is just wreaking havoc here in the Northeast. I am ready for some sun, honestly, to tell you. But today we are talking about our total lunar eclipse that is coming up on March 3rd, and that is next Tuesday at 12 degrees, 53 minutes of Virgo. And this is going to be here. It's going to be happening about 6:37 a.m. So I'll be driving into work at that time. It's not supposed to be very visible here anyway. A lunar eclipse now occurs when the full moon, so this is a full moon, and it's in close proximity with either the south or the north node. The closer it is to the nodes, the more total the eclipse will be. This is a south nodal eclipse because the moon is conjunct that south node with about a 4-degree orb. So our full moon in Virgo is known, if it was a normal full moon, it would be known as the full worm moon. And so this is kind of marking the transition into spring. And this is when the worms actually start kind of turning up and stirring up the soil. Now, we have tons of worms around here, but I couldn't tell you if that's actually happening or not because, again, we have about 3 feet of snow on the ground. I won't be seeing any kind of soil until, oh God, I'm thinking June. But you know, I have joked with my husband in the past that we should have a worm farming business because we get so many, and I feel so bad when I'm breaking them up and whatnot. But anyway, with this full moon being an eclipse, that it will take on a reddish kind of color during its totality. So then it will be referred to as the blood moon. So this is going to be visible and most potent in Eastern Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Iceland, Western North America, and it really is weather permitting. So if it's cloudy, you're probably not going to see it. So symbolically, it represents a spiritual rebirth, a reflection, and just a release. So in order to evolve our living souls, we need to purge what is no longer needed. We'll have heightened intuition and insight because we have that Pisces and Virgo working together with that practicality, but that intuition that's kind of leading us and letting us know, kind of giving us that edge a little bit. It's going to be a figurative and a literal transition, really from darkness to light, from being in the dark to being enlightened, you could say. It's a time to release old habits so that we can prepare for new possibilities to come our way. This eclipse is in tandem working with Mercury retrograde that's going to start the 26th. And this is a time to, just tomorrow, I think, a time of reflection, release, and to be renewed, pretty much. So just a time to really get a lot of self-care in and, you know, do that intuitive work, do that introspective work with that Pisces. Think of it as almost like a low tide just kind of washing over you, just laying there, and the tide comes over and just pulls out everything that's no longer needed, that's no longer beneficial, and just washes it away out to sea. So we don't have it anymore, and we're just there laying on nice, clean, you know, new sand, just ready for some footsteps to be put in it, ready for some new markings, and something to get started. I have a cold brewing, so bear with me if I cough a little bit. I'm gonna really try my best not to. Now, for a moment, the eclipse will stifle your energy. So that's what eclipses do. They're a stifling, like a pause that's going to be put up. but then it will fill us as it emerges from that coverage. It's going to emerge with a lot of energy and just like a surge of energy that we're going to have, a little more passion, a little more something there. The earth all around will be filled with this energy. A south nodal eclipse, though, can be regarded as being a little bit more difficult than a north nodal eclipse, because this is about releasing something. It's about an ending, a closure, a letting go of something. And this may be something that you really have no control over. This could be a loss, a death, something that is really going to be poignant, that is really going to make an impact on you. And sometimes these things can be very difficult to deal with. They're not going to always just be some easy, like, okay, I'm just going to let go of this negativity. I'm going to go la la la, happy on my way. Sometimes it's going to be really difficult, and it's going to take a lot of inner work, a lot of mourning for whatever it is that loss is going to be, really. And the change that we know is coming, and even that enlightenment that could be coming could be a thing that changes our belief system, and that could be something that we're going to be losing. So along with that Mercury retrograde, it can be bringing something back maybe from the past that is forcing us to face it and forcing us to say, look at here, this is the truth. I am showing this to you, and now it comes like to a climax almost, and now we have to deal with it, and you have to deal with it in order to let it go. Now, in astrology, we look for patterns. So, and all the cycles and everything just lead to different patterns, and so that's why I always say, look at the past of different eclipses or different conjunctions, like the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and how they reoccur. An eclipse cycle is known as the Metonic cycle, and it is a 19-year cycle. So it returns to another eclipse on the same day, close to the exact degree, 19 years later. So if we go back prior to this, we had our Virgo lunar eclipse on March of 2007. So what major themes, events, kind of stood out in your head from back then? Do you have anything that really stands out? If you do, this could be a really important eclipse for you, especially, it's going to come back around. It really depends on what other planets are with it, but it's going to be hitting the same area of your chart around that 12th degree again at this time. So if something kind of was very poignant to you back then, you're going to be feeling it this time around. And do we see, in the world, similar patterns going on today? Back then, on a personal note, I made a decision to give up working from home and to begin a whole new career. And it really, it's something that transformed my life, I think, more than anything else. It gave me the career that I'm in today, that I've been doing for, 19 years now. It has given me a lot more confidence. It's given me a lot more socialization, because I was working at home. So it really transformed my life, and I think really for the better. I'm much more independent. I can, afford things. I shop on my own. I don't depend on anybody. So it's really helped me in that aspects. So again, just like with that Saturn-Neptune conjunction, you want to look for those doors that open and those opportunities to come your way, and know, am I strong enough? Am I confident enough? And what's my intuition telling me about walking through these doors? And that too, if you want to look at where this falls in your chart. So that one for me, and this one, of course, they all are going to be in the same house, because that doesn't change. And it came in my 8th and 12th house polarity, or 8th and 2nd house polarity. So 2nd house is how you make money, pretty much. So it totally, completely changed the way I made my money. So coming up this year, we'll see how that's going to change, if at all. Themes of a Virgo lunar eclipse revolve around earthly elements. So that can be making money, like I said. Also, like on a collective scale, like a larger scale, mundanely, it could be the land, livestock, food and our food supplies, and even food chain issues could be, or supply chain issues, droughts, maybe power outages. And with that, I'll include internet outages, websites going down, maybe phones not working, you know, like Verizon going down or something like that. Especially, this could be especially seen because this is happening during the Mercury retrograde also. So that's happening in a Mercury ruled sign, Virgo, ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is going retrograde. So I would not be surprised if we had some, you know, internet stuff happening, going down, you know, maybe cell phones not working, communications, different kind of communications not working, or just power outages in general happening. Could be because of this horrible snow that's everywhere, but we'll see. It also is the collective health of the people. So, and this is what I mean about mundanely, the collective health of the people could be just your mental health. Right now, the mental health of the people, especially here in the United States, isn't great. It's a lot of negativity going on. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of stress, especially if you watch a lot of the news, what's going on, stress that has to do with all the weather that's happening everywhere, the ice, the cold, the snow, the horrible weather that's going on, and that type of thing. So it's really that collective health. Also sicknesses that could be going around. You know, there could be a flu virus popping up that really like ravages people. Like I said, I have a cold going on. It's just starting, but I'm thinking it's going to get worse. I could just feel it. So we're going to hope not, but that's, you know, with the collective health of the people. So if there's a lot of sicknesses brewing around, this could be kind of a surge. It could be that surge of a sickness or something coming up, a spread. So also it has to do with the workforce in general and armed services. So people's jobs, I think we'll see a lot of things happening with AI. People may be losing their jobs. People may be getting different jobs that have to revolve around, you know, this AI stuff, because things are a lot more automated. So your everyday to day routines might look a little bit differently, which also is what that Virgo represents, is that your day-to-day routines, your work life, and then the armed services we have as well, which we do see starting to head over to Iran, which could be a little bit concerning because, you know, kind of a live wire over there. Now, personally, the focus is going to be on our own personal jobs, our conscious, our co-workers. So the people that we work with, also the services that we might provide with our jobs. So, you know, the particular service, they could be issues. They could be issues calling in, connecting with you if you provide a service that is kind of internet based or something to that effect. You might find issues there. And also, like I said, in your daily routines, things being upset because of these new things being implemented coming in, and then challenges, your everyday challenges that you might be having. Also, our own personal health. Concentrate really on especially things around that third chakra. That's our solar plexus. So around the stomach issue, your digestion, look for issues there. Maybe eat a little bit more fiber at this time. Maybe do a little bit more digestive care. Also, our diets, our liver health, a lot of people, it's Lent, might be cutting down on drinking, might be a good idea, because, and those adrenal glands as well, plus the pancreas, so insulin and blood sugar. So if you said maybe for Lent that you're going to cut down, or even for New Year's resolution, you're going to cut down on alcohol, and, you know, sweets, chocolate, sugar, might be a good thing to kind of get, you know, some control over that. So definitely keep an eye on your blood sugar levels, your liver health. Also our nervous systems. So our nervous system is what controls all of our bodily functions. It, you know, makes us go, makes us walk and talk and all that stuff. It gives us those power surges in our head. We don't want to lose that. We don't want to have that stifled at all. So, you know, all these things are, you know, a key, personally, things that we might feel. Also, our aesthetic state of consciousness, our awareness of beauty, our appreciation of beauty, and our desire for perfection. So what I mean by that is to have like that perfect body, to be the perfect worker, to have the perfect life. So maybe just, you know, that keeping up with the Joneses thing, when you want to have that perfect life. So you want to have a better car, a better this, better clothes, name brands on things. Also, to be the perfect worker, you want to make sure that you are doing everything perfectly, rechecking things that might be holding you up because you're putting maybe a little bit too much effort into that perfection. And sometimes when you go over something too many times, I know doing this at work, sometimes you could overthink things and it makes it a lot more difficult. I remember training somebody that would overthink everything, and she would always say, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And sometimes you're doing too much. So you need to slow down and just, you know, focus on the task at hand. And also the perfect body. So, you know, what cost does this all come? We see a lot of people and commercials just flooding the airwaves with these weight loss quick shots, pills, whatever, drops that you put in your water, and it makes you just wonder, will this Mercury retrograde like expose the dangers of these, you know, lose weight quick without exercising, without all that? Because I know I've seen so many of them come and go, and they're all bullshit in the end, and they're all not good for you in the end. Just old-fashioned eating healthy and exercise. So that's what I mean about that Virgo, really getting rid of that, you know, that Piscean kind of fantasy about about losing weight fast, and I need to have the perfect body to be happy. Get rid of that you want to release, and then you want to take in the good things for health, you know, good foods, good, you know, take care of your body, exercise it, do weights, run, work out, you know, whatever you can do, just get moving. It really helps a lot, and it also boosts your stamina, it boosts your mind, and I don't know, when I get up in the morning and work out before work, I feel so much better than when I sleep in. There's just something about it. You just feel like invigorated and energized and ready to go and ready to take on the world. With work, when I talk about being, you know, being the perfect employee, you know, maybe you're doing too much. Anything they hand to you, you're putting your all into it. Maybe that could lead that to being taken advantage of, to working late, to working more hours, to more getting piled up on your plate, and then maybe more stress, which we know stress leads to ill health. So these are the things that we want to, you know, be aware of. And, you know, you don't always have to be perfect. And that fight for perfection, it's never going to happen. No one is perfect. No one will ever be perfect. So you'll never achieve that. Just do your best at things, you know, don't overdo it. And this eclipse together with that Mercury retrograde and Saturn and Neptune conjunction is we have that enlightenment from Mercury. So something is enlightening us. Something is that light bulb going off in our head like, oh, okay, you know, like I said, with maybe the, you know, weight loss drugs, or with something else, something coming up, something in the news coming up that kind of like enlightens us a bit. Then we have that release and that loss though from the eclipse. So this could be something that could be difficult. It could be anything. Like I said, it could be the loss of someone you love, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job, the loss of who knows. It can be anything. But there's where some of that difficulty comes in. But you need to let it go and come to grips with it. And that is from this eclipse. And then this is going to lead to those monumental and pivotal decisions with that Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Okay, now how am I going to rebuild my life? How am I going to, where am I going to go from here? What's my next step? And there's where Saturn-Neptune will help. But without the hard work and facing and dealing with these hard truths, this Virgoan mutable eclipse can really have more ups and downs, and it won't necessarily go away as easily. It will, the effects of it could keep dragging on and dragging on. So like what I say about your health, you don't want to do something that is going to keep coming back and keep being something that you have to deal with. So you want to take care of that now. Whatever that could be in your circulatory system, in your nervous system. You want to take care of that mental health and that physical health as well. And that's where that earthiness comes in, because that is your physical body. Until really we want to have our minds reach that acceptance phase. Kind of almost like when you do break up or, you know, get divorced, you go through that phase of anger and loss and sadness, and then you have acceptance. Okay, this is happening, we're not getting back together, and then you have that release. Okay, well, I'm going to let that person go, and I'm going to find closure so that I can then move on to my next. Now, that's just an example. It's not always has to do with relationships, but that's just an easy example that we've all been through. We've all gone through breakups. Well, most of us have anyway. If you haven't, lucky you. But we've all been through breakups. We know how hard that can be. We know how that loss can be of that relationship, of that comfort, can be so difficult. Same thing when it comes to a job. If you lose your job, because say AI takes over and they all of a sudden automate everything. So now what do I do? So you have that, like, that feeling of loss and fear, and then you have to come to an acceptance about it and accept these changes are coming along so that you can release those feelings, release that, you know, okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to close this chapter in my life and I'm going to open a new chapter. So really that's how this can kind of play out for you. To find out, you know, maybe difficulty wise, it really depends on the aspects it's going to have to planets and everything in your chart and to your angles as well. And like I said, definitely look back before looking forward. If the 2007 eclipse that time, March 3rd, was difficult for you, this might be difficult for you. If you had like some kind of good and positive boost, some kind of benefit fall in your lap, some good luck perhaps, maybe this time around the same thing could happen. Also going back, before that was in 1988, March 3rd. And then before that was 1969. So if you are old enough, you can actually see how a couple of these have affected you. Now, if you're younger and you don't really remember, like I said, pull your chart up and then you want to check the houses. So the positive houses, but the most, they could be more impactful because these are your angular houses. So 1, 4, 7, and 10 can be more beneficial or easier. So it could be more something that's going to, like if it's in the first house, like Virgo, if you're a Virgo, ascendant, Virgo rising, this would be about yourself, something that might boost you, boost your reputation, kind of give you a little bit of lifts, kind of maybe get you out of your shell, get your stamina going. If this is in your fourth house, you're a Gemini. So if you're a Gemini rising, this will happen in your fourth house. So again, that is an angular house, so that is a little bit more beneficial. In your fourth house, this could be about your house and home. This could be maybe purchasing a house or having that opportunity to buy a house, or some kind of opportunity that comes, maybe to work from home so you don't have to commute anymore. Virgo, and the ruler, Mercury, is about travel. So maybe you could have that opportunity to maybe even work outside the house. If you're a Pisces ascendant or rising, this is going to be in your seventh house. So this is where I talk about relationships. So you could have an opportunity come along in your relationship, but again, these could have negative effects as well, because this is an eclipse. You don't know exactly how it's going to affect you, especially because you want to see the planets that it's going to be interacting with that are in your natal chart. So in the seventh house, it could be something beneficial, kind of an opportunity in a relationship, kind of maybe an opportunity to join up with somebody in a business or some kind of venture like that. Or it could be something that could be a little bit more negative and a loss somehow there. Sagittarius, this is going to be in your 10th house. Again, look for opportunities at work. Look for a door opening. Maybe they're putting up a better job than what you have. So you might want to, apply for that job, or maybe kind of look around in similar things to what you do. So to kind of boost your career. Put yourself out there, put your face out there. Reputation has a lot to do with career. At my old job, everybody kind of knew who I was. I was very well known in that industry just from what I did, and because I was there so long, and I was very respected and known, and sometimes feared because I was kind of a hard ass when it came to shaking people down for money. But that's a good thing. You want to build that good reputation. So you want to look for those opportunities to do that. So if it falls in a more negative house, it's going to be in your 6th, 8th, or 12th houses. Those can be a little more difficult. So Libra, if you're a Libra ascendant or rising, it's going to be in your 12th house. So this could be, could have to do with hospitalizations. This could be you, or for somebody that you care about. Libra is that we, so it could be the person that you love being hospitalized, or something happening where you have to withdraw from, people. Maybe be a little more introspective, be a little more introverted as well, because that 12th house has that little more negative kind of tone to it. Now the 6th house, if you're an Aries rising, you are going to see this in your 6th house. And I know I'm all over the place here, but I'll put notes up, timestamps. This is going to be happening in your 6th house. So this is very Virgo. And so Aries, not that you don't have enough going on with Saturn and Neptune right in your ascendant, and all the planets are going to be moving in there next, because they are moving in this little tight stellium from sign to sign right now. They're in Pisces, but they're going to be moving into your sign. So you have a lot going on right now. This could be very overstimulating for you, and this could cause a lot of stress, and this could cause some health issues. So you want to try and be able to calm yourself and maybe get rid of that stress in a way that is going to kind of dampen your fire a little bit. It could be difficult because the stress can lead to health problems. It could lead to high blood pressure, aches and pains if you hold stress in your neck or whatever. So you want to look out for that. Also, migraines you want to look out for. If you're an Aries rising, very much about the head. So you might be having migraines or stress in that way. And also, you want to look at the worst case scenario, because of all the stress, you could have a stroke, and that's in your brain too. But I don't want to make y'all scared, but that's what I'm saying. Just, you want to take care of yourself, and you want to, you know, use that solar plexus, that breathe in and do those belly breaths that could really help to calm you down no matter where this falls in your chart. But you just want to be proactive in taking care of yourself, especially you Aries, with a lot going on right now. Aries, this could be Aries sun as well, but I focus more on your rising sign. Now, if you're also an Aquarius, it's going to be in a negative house. This is going to be in your 8th house. So you could be facing losing someone. The 8th house has to do with death. It also has to do with anxiety, even taxes. Taxes is in the 8th house. You could find out you owe a ton of money tax-wise. So these could be things that something comes to light. Could, like I said, it could be a death, could be anything to that effect, but something, it could be even your partner's finances. Maybe your partner loses his job, so you lose half that income for your home. That type of thing could be very 8th house. It's something that's going to be hard to deal with, but something that you're going to have to, like, again, it's going to be that loss that you have to come to grips with, and then end up letting it go so you can move forward and move on with your life. So that is our negative houses. So in the other houses, they're more neutral. So it can really go either way there. So again, you know, eclipses usually have a kind of like something shocking, something electric, especially an eclipse in a Mercury ruled sign. It could be something like electrifying, that kind of very overstimulating. But again, with these next few houses, you want to look back at the old eclipses that were on May 3rd in Virgo around this 12th degree. Again, 2007, 1988, and 1969. Do these years for you stand out for good reasons or for bad reasons? I would expect similar themes if you had bad. I had bad and then good. So there's a pattern. So my 1988 was very negative, but my 2007 was very positive. And now this one, hopefully the pattern won't go back to negative and it will stay positive. So again, we're just going to have to wait and see. So I am in this where it could go either way. So first, Taurus, which right now we have Uranus. So if you're a Taurus rising, you have Uranus right at the end of your first house. And this is in its last degrees. It can be, again, Uranus is very dynamic and it's very overstimulating, especially as it starts moving to those last degrees. It might seem very urgent. You might have an urgency about you. You might have feel like something needs to be done, but you can't quite put your finger on it. This eclipse will be happening in your 5th house. So maybe it's something you're working on. Maybe you're trying for a child. Maybe you're working on something, dating. Maybe you're in the dating apps, you're starting to panic. Maybe you're getting older and you're starting to panic and you say like, oh, my clock is ticking. So you might have that feeling like, I need to find somebody. I need to start getting out there in the dating world. I need to, settle down and have children and focus on children, or even focus on, doing the things I love a little bit more, putting a little more time into that, because you're so high strung, maybe doing this overwork thing, that you need to calm down a little bit. That's Taurus, which would be in your 5th house. Capricorn, which is my rising sign, this is going to be in your 9th house. So you could have opportunities to maybe learn something new. So looking at this in my 8th house, or in my 9th house, and now I use a couple different house systems, so it makes a difference which house system you use. When I'm talking about this, I'm usually talking whole sign houses. So it would be in my 9th house, and that's my my house of, career. And so the last one, like I said, the one in 2007 is when I changed careers. But the one before that, if I was to use like a Placidus house, it was falling into my 8th house. And I know this, I'm confusing you, but there I did see a death. I lost my father. But that also, putting that back in the 8th house or into the 9th house, it kind of gives you that a little, Capricorn always is about giving you that push for career and knowing that you have to grow up. And so all of these things really grew me up and gave me something to strive for. It gave me something to learn, to relearn. So to relearn how to really go on without my father. So these are like that 9th house, that learning. Also to become a little more spiritual, having trouble with God, perhaps because you lost a parent before it was time. I was really young back then. So you have those struggles there. You have that, I don't want to accept this. But Capricorn really kept me grounded. And being that Capricorn rising, I was always like that responsible one and always the one that was like, okay, now what do we do? Now I have to start working so I can contribute to the household so that my mother isn't solely taking care of me. I have to take care of myself. These are, some of these themes. So you can see where if you're using a different house system, I would really look at this more in a whole sign again, because it's not falling, halfway through or anything like that, so that it might make you a little bit confused. But like I said, either way, you can kind of see how that worked out for me, where I can put it into that context. And then, when I got my job in 2007, I had to learn a whole nother way of life, a whole industry that was completely different than anything I've ever done before. So that's, that 9th house, if you're a Capricorn rising, expect to be forced to learn something new. Maybe if you're not ready for it, maybe if you, maybe you could be excited for it, but maybe you don't want to do it. So this could be about that learning. It could be about questioning your spirituality or your religion, or something to that effect. Now, Scorpio, if you're a Scorpio rising, you're going to have this in your 11th house. So that is going to be maybe opportunities coming up for you in, say, in your groups, in your friends groups. So maybe something coming up that, oh, well, don't you do this? Well, I can maybe get you in at my job, which might help you a little bit. Or, oh, you're single now? Well, I have this friend and, he's looking for somebody, so it could be a setup. So this could be opportunities that could pop up there. But it also could be, something of a loss, because like I said, this could go up or down. So you could have a loss in your friends group. So maybe somebody moves away, passes away. And this is also, could do with like internet and that type of thing. So if you are doing like YouTube channels, maybe you could have some difficulty maybe boosting yourself and getting your word out there, but maybe you could have an opportunity where you do blow up a little bit. As I said, depends on what else you have going on in your chart. Cancer, this will be in your 3rd house. So this will be about your community, your close community. Could be, again, like a loss of a neighbor, something that is difficult because you could have been close with them, maybe a sibling or even a like a cousin or something like that. So the loss of a close family member could be a death. It could be, somebody just, like I said, moves away and you get a different neighbor in and you have to get to know those people. It could have to do with travel. Again, like I said, maybe you have an opportunity to not have to travel for work. So you're working more kind of close knit. So, or even from home or changing, going from working from home to working outside the home and having to do that commute. Leo, this will be in your second house. So this is about, you know, so Leo rising, this is about making money, the way you make money, and how you go about, you know, the things that you have. But due to the enormous energy around the eclipse, for all of us, this can be very personal and very pivotal. On a personal, like a personal, like loss decision, turning, it could be a loss, like I said, a decision, a turning point in our journey towards a new consciousness. So you're consciously making a decision that is going to change a lot, and that is because of everything that's going on around this eclipse. Like I said, very personal and very pivotal. On a collective scale, it's about finding and uncovering the truth, exposing that darkness, and really putting the evil into light, shining a light on them. So we have, you know, think of that like, okay, things are a little bit stifled, but now we're emerging, that moonlight that is coming out. So it enlightens us as it moves out of that eclipse phase. Putting that evil into light, putting the bad into light, so we can really like just purge it from our consciousness, purge it from our existence. This is the evil that's within us and the evil that's around us, around the world, that brings us darkness, that brings the world down, that brings negativity around the world and brings negativity into our personal lives. We have this perfect storm of transformational energy coming along. And a fun fact about this eclipse and this metatonic cycle, this 19-year cycle that I talked about. The last lunar eclipse, March 3rd of 2007, it was when Saturn and Neptune were in opposition. So that's halfway through their cycle. That's like their full phase. So that now they're at their new moon phase, kind of a new phase, and then they were at a full phase back then. So something is kind of like coming to a head. And again, on like that personal note, that was my career that came to a head at that point. That's very Saturn and Neptune. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm confused. I'm scared. I'm doing something completely different, but I'm going to do it anyway because the opportunity is there. And I did become very successful at it. So that's that Saturn Neptune at that full phase. So now it's coming back down to its new phase. So then, fun fact again, the prior eclipse, the one in March 3rd, 1988, as I talked about in the Saturn-Neptune video, that's the last Saturn-Neptune conjunction. It was about 1989, but they were really close and moving towards that exact conjunction, just like it's been, you know, the conjunction's been kind of coming, and then, you know, we have the retrogrades with both that kind of, you know, but it's been coming for a while and we could feel it. Check that video. I'll add that up here. Definitely just for a little more context. Both times for me, again, we're literally not any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Were the most vital and pivotal times in my life. So, you know, by a long shot, nothing even came close. You know, having kids, that's something that you work towards and you kind of graduate to. But these were very pivotal things that just were like, here's an opportunity. Here's something horrible that happened that you have to deal with. Here's something that we have to learn from. And it's working with those energies to really make the best of it. So knowing that, like I said, you know, if it's a pattern where it's like negative, positive, negative, or hopefully not, because I'd rather not have a negative one because the first one for me really sucked. So, but that's not all we have going on. So I know I'm running a little bit long and I'm sorry for that. But we're kind of finishing up now. So we know that Mercury is in its retrograde in Pisces. Well, like I said earlier in the video, it has a stellium going on in Pisces that are all these planets kind of moving together through all the signs. So along with Mars, which is at 0 degrees, North Node, of course, at 8 degrees, conjunct the Sun, which is at 12 degrees, an opposite of the moon, of course. And then Mercury retrogrades at 20 degrees and Venus is at 26. But they're working together as they move from sign to sign. They're supporting us. These are our personal planets that are all together in one sign, really kind of helping us. The energies, help us keep us moving towards our goals. Mars is that taking that initiative towards that, destiny, which is that North Node. The Sun is our drives, our passions, our life purpose, working towards that, to that release, which is that Mercury retrograde, and that gaining of wisdom, that we can move towards, our Venus, our happiness and our bliss. This is our goal, to achieve this. And this is what we're working towards. And it all is falling together. And again, things are difficult, but they're going to get better. The North Node is, though, actually both nodes, because they're opposite each other, they are square to Black Moon Lilith. So there will be struggles. There will be power struggles. There will be power struggles with authority, especially on this mundane level, even personally. Fear of losing your control is a big theme here with Black Moon Lilith. And the resistance to change. We already see a lot of this going on in the world, with a lot of this resistance happening. Those who were exposed will fight to stay on top, but Saturn, Neptune will see their downfall. The ones that will pay or need to pay will pay. The Moon and the South Node are sextile to Jupiter, so we will come together in the end to our safe place, with compassion. This is our safe place, our South Node. We're going to come together with compassion and reunite as a better, stronger, humanity. We saw this, fights with the past eclipses. Also, just real quick to compare, 1988, we saw the collapse of the Soviet Union. Right now, we're seeing Putin really deserving to get his. So we'll see what happens there. In 2007, we saw increased military force in Iraq. Currently, this is going on in Iran. That Virgo, that, the military force, the armed forces. And then the controversy also in sports came out in the 2007 with the Mitchell report. So if you're not familiar with that is, that's pretty much what exposed all of the steroid use. And now we have the Epstein files, which are exposing, celebrities, government, heads of huge corporations, even royalty. And it could be other things, not just the Epstein files. We all need to really open our consciousness to accept and be willing to face what can be painful, shocking, disgusting, and devastating, and accept what is truth, and what and release what we don't need, release what's not, purge out the toxic, move towards a new life, a destiny that you're meant for. And this is the only way to do it, by getting rid of what's toxic. So let me know what you think in the comments. Each and every comment I appreciate. It's welcomed, and I love hearing what you guys have to say. Remember also to like and subscribe. Every single like and subscribe helps boost the channel, and I appreciate every single one of you that takes the time out of your day, especially with one as long as this. And I'm sorry I rambled so long. Just subscribe, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. So let's face these new opportunities with, guys say, peace in our minds and positivity in our words and love in our hearts. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.